Hey, Steve Mignogna here doing the junkyard crawl in a private yard in the northeast of the country. Brought to you in part by High Octane Classics. Thank you, guys down in Auburn, Mass. Now, this is something really bizarre. It's an 8-door 1968 Chrysler Newport. The good thing about this car is that it's 6 times as hard to get your doors blown off in a street race. Get it? It's got 8 doors. Anyway, with that said, this is kind of an interesting piece. It's not a deluxe limousine. It's actually what you might call an airport limousine. We can see on our front door, Connecticut Limousine Services, phone number, and most importantly, this is something called an Armbruster Stageway conversion. And we can see on the back it says 11 passenger capacity right there. And this was once a for-hire airport limousine. The point of this thing is the driver plus 11 people, that's 12 people, that might make their way to the airport, and all their luggage would go up top on this rack right here, which was built into the car. By all means, it was there from day one. And this is based on a Chrysler Newport, a 1968. And let's take a look inside, starting with the back right here. Oh yeah, that's good. That's a 727 torque flight right there. That might be the transmission from this car. And again, the interior on this is pretty austere. Basic bench seats with dual ashtrays in the back, so smokers could enjoy a last smoke before they head off into the skies in that Boeing 707 or Douglas DC-10. This does have rear air conditioning all the way back here. We see on the package tray those 2 outlets would be there, and of course that huge condenser right there behind the back seat. That's all stuff for the rear AC unit. The trim rings here on the floor area, this is kind of cool. These are Mopar rally wheel trim rings right here. Who knows what these came off of? These cars don't speak. So I feel like Monty Hall on The Price is Right. Behind door number 2. There we go. Now notice this door is actually longer by far than the others, and I'm looking here for signs of surgery scars, and I don't really see much. Now, Armbruster Stageway was founded in 1909. They're still around. Fort Smith, Arkansas, I think was their initial location, and they make conversions like this, so it's possible they have the ability to clone original metal like this. Now, this car was not born an 8-door from Chrysler. We'll know more about that in a second. But inside this, there again is the seat. This has also become sort of a storage unit. We can see right here, small block Mopar engine sitting right there. Low compression. See the dish piston's probably a 360, a truck engine or something. Nothing very that important. But anyway, let's go to the next set of doors. And again, with the special long door. And inside, yeah, more goodies right there. Oh, nice, a raccoon trap right there. A little 4-barrel, an AVS, Carter AVS, air valve secondary. And here's the other side of that small block Mopar. Look at the entry or exit wound on the oil pan. That thing got clanged. And in fact, this is a 360 with a cast crank. There's the eccentric. So that engine is not from this car. Clearly, we'll know more about what's going on under the hood in a second. But again, the length of this roof, it's just astonishing. And the construction of this roof is a combination of steel and wood right here, so these were kind of, homemade or handmade, I would say, by craftsmen, maybe 50 or 100 people working in Fort Smith, Arkansas, converting this thing. And, okay, that door doesn't open, but here it is, Connecticut Limousine Service, and the phone number is even MC23 whatever, so that's so old, it's before the area code that we now have. I think that came along in, 1970 or something like that. I don't know. But here we have Stageway. That is not a Chrysler Newport logo. That is strictly from Armbruster Stageway. That is the logo from the conversion company. And this thing, of course, with the 12 people in it, could weigh like 4 tons or more. So the wheels, look at this. That's a split rim. This is like a pickup truck style split rim, a 16-inch wheel. The hub is still a 5-on-4.5 Chrysler hub, 11-inch drum brake. I can kind of see the hub. I know what that looks like. So it's kind of weird that it has big truck-type wheels and tires on it, again, to crutch the extra capacity after the conversion. Now, the engine on this, I'm so happy to see this. This is the H-Code 383 High Performance. Dual snorkel, silent style air cleaner like you'd find in a 1968 Super Bee, really. And let's take a peek underneath. And there is the original Fram air filter with this. The reproduction air filters don't have that perforated metal outer. That's kind of kinky. Here's the base plate right here. There's that Carter AFB 4-barrel. AFB stands for aluminum 4-barrel. And how cool is this? The little tag. Oh, there it is. The tag right there is pretty groovy right there. This is going to be the part number, which should match the foot number right here. But that's the thing, is when you have a carburetor that's restored or otherwise, that little tag right there is the cherry on top. Here's the iron intake manifold, and this is a low deck, so it's a 383. It's not like somebody swapped in a 440, which is would have been nice, but anyway, 383, 330 horsepower. So again, this was built to, you know, take people to the airport with some degree of speed. Not going to be a very fast ride. Let's remember, this thing probably weighs 4 tons, maybe 5 with a full load. So not a fast ride, but it's cool to see. Now, the base engine in a Chrysler Newport would have been a 383 2-barrel, but for $68 more, you'd get the 383 4-barrel. Kind of cool. Air conditioning, of course, up front and out back. And metal grille. Of course, 1968, Chrysler was still building cars out of metal. And here's the trim tag here with some data on it. The VIN, we can read that. And what we see is CE41H, C, and C means Chrysler, E means economy. And you got to remember that the economy was something seldom seen. There was E for economy, low for medium, M for low for low, M for medium, and high for high price. So CE, the economy, that's a basic Chrysler Newport. 41 means it was born a 4-door sedan. H is the 383 4-barrel. C is the Jefferson Avenue plant in Detroit. So again, that 41 in the 3rd and 4th spots tells us this car left Chrysler's Jefferson Ave plant as a 4-door. So Chrysler didn't do this. That instead, Armbruster Stageway did the conversion on this thing. So again, we see another one of those split wheels right there, heavy duty stuff. And notice how it has these small tabs right here. And those were specifically for the industrial type center hubcap, not a wheel cover on this thing. So this would have been very austere looking coming down the road with its baby hubcaps, you know, and purely function. These doors on this side don't want to open. This one here has been peeled back a little bit, kind of unfortunate. Try to replace this door, have fun. And I got to say, these doors, I don't think they're from a wagon application. They're not the front doors. These might be. Now, these are a little longer than the front doors. See, these are probably stamped either by Chrysler or reworked very well by Armbruster, because I don't see any surgery scars. In fact, the chrome trim up here is one piece. That's a long item. So it's possible that Armbruster Stageway made so many of these things, they had a deal with Chrysler's subcontractor for that stainless to make them for these guys in extra long length. But that's way longer than anything that would have come out of a Chrysler dealership. But as we continue back, yeah, once again, door doesn't want to open. 8 3/4 rear axle. Let's go around to the trunk and see what we find here. And again, the trunk on this would have only been a hint at where all that luggage would go. That roof rack absolutely saw plenty of use. In fact, the roof rack does have a fabric cover, which is long gone now, but on a rainy day or a snowy day, the bag would go on that, be covered up by the chauffeur, and off you'd go to Bradley or Logan or whatever airport you needed to go to. So here at the back, again, we see, again, it's a Chrysler Newport, but by Armbruster, Fort Smith, Arkansas. This logo right here, which is riveted, pop riveted, very austere, workmanlike. It's not screwed on, but pop riveted. But again, that's Armbruster, the conversion company in Fort Smith, Arkansas. They're still around. Let's take a peek inside the trunk. Okay, and again, we see the original dark green metallic paint preserved here, along with the jacking instructions. Bleached out, but there it is. And kind of a big block surprise here in the back. Here's the underside of probably a 383, maybe a 440, yeah, probably a 383. 4-barrel engine of some kind. It's a later engine. We see the spread bore. So this would be a thermoquad type intake manifold with the small primaries, big secondaries. Power steering pump right there. And yeah, somehow, some way, this thing became a storage unit for a 440 or 383 Mopar engine. Here's a couple of torsion bars. And if you didn't know, torsion bars really are Chrysler's stock in trade from 57 right into the 1980s. And what these things basically do is they're anchored from one end and they twist at the other with the lower control arm suspension. So it's like a coil spring unwound, and just basically the twist is what resists the up and down of the car. This is your torsion bar. The beauty of these things is that they're so compact, you don't need a big coil spring tower under the engine like a Mustang. But if you put headers on a car with torsion bars, these things go down underneath, and the headers usually fight with these things for space. But look at this. That yellow paint right there, that's an indicator, probably left usually right-hand stuff would have 2 marks on it. So that was brushed on there by somebody a long time ago, perhaps at the Lynch Road plant or maybe Hamtramck, who knows. But again, this is something that was built by 2 companies. Chrysler Corporation did the initial 4-door economy Newport sedan with a 383 4-barrel, kind of a cool thing, and an Armstrong took it from there, turning this thing into an 8-door airport limousine. Now this thing probably saw duty for many years. I see a lot of rust on this thing. I can't get underneath it, but you got to wonder how Stageway fortified the suspension and chassis on this thing. You got to remember, these things are semi-unitized, right? It's a C-body, so it has a frame from the firewall forward, but underneath it's a unit construction. So you got to wonder if we could lift this thing up and see some bars or some sort of channel iron welded in to stiffen it up against beam sag. But again, without a forklift, we're not going to learn that. But again, the junkyard is a classroom as much as it is a junkyard. So we'll be back tomorrow with more Junkyard Crawl, and be sure to subscribe to the Steve Maggs YouTube channel, ring the bell so that you get a heads up every day when these videos come out, and every day we have a new one for you. So we'll see you again tomorrow.